What's going
Baker Mayfield, y'all. 4 touchdowns, no picks in his debut. It was absolutely phenomenal. Now, remember, he has a huge, one of the biggest matchups of the weekend, road game versus the Detroit Lions, the team that knocked him out of the playoffs and ended his playoff journey. It's Sunday. Y'all know what network it's on. It's on Fox, people. Okay, Shade, I got to ask you this, man, because for 2 to 3 years, we've been arguing about this one person, this one player, this one name. Baker Mayfield. So I'm going to personalize this question, viewers at home, not for James, not for Chase, for my dog 25. Shady, can Baker Mayfield win you over? Because it's been a long time. Can he win you over with the win versus Lions?
I think it will help, right? I do, even though I'm an Eagle nut, right, and a Hall of Fame Eagle player, I do have the Lions winning that NFC, right, going to the NFC Championship game. So I do have that. So it will help out, right? But I think with Baker, it's like we forget who this guy is. This dude went #1 pick overall, yes, right? Like I think we forget about that. And his expectation is so small now. It's like, if he beats a good team, is he crowned? Is he really, really good? No. You got to show me, man. This thing is not just 1 game, 2 games. No. Have a good year and show me that. Not going 9-8 and barely winning the division is going to win me over with Baker Mayfield. I've seen him. Another thing I hate is that when we see a player, right, for all these years, and then they have a good year or so, we want to change the whole narrative. No, this is who you are. This is what we've seen. Let's just talk about this for a second. Baker Mayfield, first of all, when he's talking and arrogant, that's the best Baker. I love when he's like that, right? Best commercials and et cetera. I need to see Baker be the #1 pick overall. I need to see that, something close to that. Because if this draft was all over again, he would be, what, second to last pick in that draft? I mean, as a quarterback you're talking about?
Got it.
You had Josh, you had Lamar, you had Josh Rowe.
Of the big dogs.
Yeah, of the big dogs. So when we talk about Baker Mayfield, let's just keep in mind and respectfully, he was the #1 pick in that draft. Let's not overlook that. So him beating the Lions, that might help out a little bit. Show me the #1 pick overall, what it looks like. Because right now, he's above average. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Okay.
But you say show me, and I'm going to show this graphic. He did show you in week 1 that he is a first-round pick.
Week 1.
Yeah, because it matters, right? All right, Baker Mayfield. There's 4 touchdown passes in the NFL. Let's show the graphic there, Colvin. Okay, 2024, there's only 35 touchdown passes thrown in the entire league, down from 2019, like, drastically, right? Defenses are getting better.
Right.
He's got 12% of the total touchdown passes. He's showing me in week 1, right? It's baby steps. You gotta show me, like you said, you're the #1 pick. He did. All right. It's a rematch, right, of last year.
Sir,
Lions are the class of the NFC other than the 49ers.
Eagles.
Other than the 49ers. Other than the 49ers, just so you're sure. Okay, they only lost by 8. The Lions had to score 14 points to come back and win that football game in a playoff game. So let's not think that this Baker team or this Bucs team is just some throwaway. Yeah, they play in an easy division, but they almost beat the Lions in Detroit. And we talk about the Lions as a top 5 NFL team, right?
Right.
So Baker is also 7-2 in his last 9 games. Like, what else does he need to do? And I'm glad that you're saying that, but, like, he's proven to me over the stretch of 10 games, which I think is a good sample size, that he is trending in the right direction to make that career resurgence. And people would already say he's already had that career resurgence because he's making $35 million a year or whatever. He got paid. Yeah, he's got Mike Evans. He's got the weapons. Yeah. Like, this is a prove it game to the NFC, in my opinion, not just the NFC South.
Everybody gets paid nowadays, like Daniel Jones. Everybody's getting paid nowadays. But I'll say this, though. In 7 seasons, he got already been on 4 different teams, right? He's a career loser, though. Let's be honest with it. Browns, 29-30, losing record. Panthers, 1-5, losing record. Rams, 1-3, losing record. With the Bucs, he's 10-8. That's the worst division in football. He's 10-8 in that. So when we talking about all this and that, third, you are the #1 pick. Don't forget that. Just because you're above average and you have a couple good games won't change that for me. So I don't know.
What will, though? What will, though?
I don't know.
What will? What does he need to do? What does he need to do?
Couple good years.
So
years.
One Pro Bowl in 7 years, dog, and use the 3rd alternate. I don't know what that means to me. I don't know. No All-Pros, none of that. Yeah. Everybody, all the other quarterbacks in your draft class are like that. Josh Allen, like that. Lamar Jackson, like that. Show me that, though. Because I think y'all taking away from where he was drafted at.
No. Because I got a real question that I want to ask y'all. Because when Jared Goff left the Rams, we kind of was looking at him like he ain't a good quarterback. And he had been to a Super Bowl, played at a high level, all that, right? And when he went to the Lions, we still were looking like, yeah, Sean McVay did the right thing, like Jared Goff ain't the guy. And then Jared Goff put a couple years together
Come on now.
of playing really good football and taking his team, a Detroit team who ain't been to the NFC Championship how many years? 30-something years to the NFC Championship. And a couple years changed that. And now we think Jared Goff is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. With Baker Mayfield, you got to play like this consistently for a couple years for me. Now, what I will say is this game is more important to his team than it is for any of us up here. Because if he goes out there and beats the Detroit Lions, now to his team, to Mike Evans, they are going to be looking in the locker room like if Detroit is what everybody's saying coming out of the NFC East and we beat them with Baker Mayfield, right, we believe in our quarterback. He can earn that from the locker room. But for me, it's not going to be one game. It's not going to be a player of the month in the NFC. It's going to be a couple years strung together where we're looking like Baker Mayfield is at an elite quarterback level.
Are we saying, to me, for me, it's one more year. It's this one right now because it's interesting. Like, Shady brings up a good point of these #1 overall picks, and Baker, you're a #1 overall pick. But I think, Shady, we have what a #1 overall pick actually does confused. Because I think about it like Jameis was a #1 overall pick. Baker's had a more successful run than Jameis. Kyler was a #1 overall pick. Baker has more playoff wins than Kyler. Zach Wilson was a #2 overall pick. Sam Darnold was Baker's draft class, a #3 overall pick. Josh Rosen was a #10 overall pick in that draft class. I think about Trevor Lawrence. He ain't really done nothing much for me. And Bryce Young, obviously very, very, very young, hasn't shown me. Mitch Trubisky was a #2 overall pick. I say that to say, like, I think we have in our minds that #1 overall picks must be Hall of Famers or must be perennial Pro Bowlers or All Pros. But the numbers just say, like, more often than not, they don't.
They're misses.
And I don't think it's hard for me to even say that they're misses.
They misses.
I think situation matters. Like,
100%.
when I look at it like
Context
this, so last
matters.
thing I'll say about it in regards to this. Only one team has been better without Baker than with Baker, and it's the Rams, who have a potential Hall of Fame quarterback. The Browns have not been better without Baker than with Baker. The Panthers, sure as heck, have not been better without Baker than with Baker. And outside of the greatest quarterback of all time, who Shady knows well, and Tom Brady, the Bucs have had the most success with Baker than without Baker since 2002 under number 14, Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson? Oh, my
So, like,
Lord.
outside of the greatest quarterback of all time, Baker's given the Bucs the most success, the Browns the most success. So that's what matters.
And that's
to
cool,
me.
but, like, why can't we say, like, all them guys you just named are not that good? Why can't we say that? If Baker Mayfield was the #1 pick, will we talk about him so much? Let's just be honest about it. Will he have commercials and all that? Let's talk about it.
Of course not.
You know why? Because his play on the field don't have us talking about it, right? So when we keep bringing his name up, it's like we bring his name up because where he got drafted at. It ain't because of what the stats he's putting up. It ain't because of the stuff he's doing on the field. It's not. He had a couple of good games, and now we acting like he's just arrived. So we're going to forget about all the other 30, 40-something games he had. And now, last year, they were 9-8 and barely got into the playoffs and barely won that division, which is the worst in football. We going to brag about that? Or he had a good game his first week, we going to brag about that? We got to keep it, we got to be fair. James came up here yesterday, right, and kept it 100% about Joe Burrow, and he deserves it. But Joe Burrow is like that. You get what I'm saying? For us not to keep it 100 about Baker Mayfield, I don't believe that is right. Because we grade every other quarterback with the type of respect, and I feel like we give Baker a pass, and we can't do that no more.
So I think this is where we're at on Baker. I don't think the standard is that high for Baker
At all, James.
So I think we can have these kind of conversations because the standard is not Joe Burrow or Lamar
he
or
definitely
Patty
hasn't
and all
shown
that. So
anything like that.
I think, yes, he's not up there with those guys, but I think when you talk about the standard that we really value Baker Mayfield out, that's why we sitting up 4 touchdown passes, even if it's just 1 week, and the next week he could go out there and we can't find him, but the standard is not there, right? So we are not really grading him on the scale that we grade a lot of the good quarterbacks in the National Football League at. You know what I mean? So I think that's the problem with Baker Mayfield. You were the #1 overall pick. And for me, I understand a lot of those quarterbacks that was drafted high that you mentioned are not good, but at one point, we watched the tape with our eyes, and he ain't splashed off the tape like he liked that with our eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Good point. But
consistently.
Now, where do y'all factor in? Because y'all not only were incredible football players, but y'all are fathers, so y'all can take this not just from the football field to life itself. Where do you factor in the situation? The Browns haven't had a good quarterback. I disagree with Shady only because I don't think all those quarterbacks are sorry. But in Cleveland, they all were sorry as it pertains to statistics. The Panthers, outside of Cam Newton for probably 2 to 3 years, haven't had a good quarterback since maybe Jake Delhomme. I don't think every single Panthers quarterback, but they just, for whatever reason, Bryce Young included, Heisman winner, can't find themselves a good quarterback. Outside of Tom Brady, by the grace of God, choosing to go to Tampa, The Tampa Bay Buccaneers haven't had a good quarterback, and you can probably include Brad Johnson, who won a Super Bowl. They had an elite defense. So with Baker, we're talking about organizations that have that haven't had good quarterbacks since the turn of the century, minus a year or two here with Cam Newton, a year or two here with Tom Brady, a year or two here with Jake Delhomme. Like, where do y'all consider that? Well, to me, quarterbacks.
I get that. I mean, but that's why they get paid so much money, because it's the hardest position in football, right? And the NFL, I tell like fans all the time with this fantasy football, I'm like, yo, football is not easy, right? I don't want you to think that because you watch some of your favorite players do it and they think it's easy. It's not easy. But as much as you want to pick them players that's not good, and you're saying it's the team, if I put other players in them schemes, like you talked to Cam Newton, if I put Cam on the Cleveland Browns, they would be better, right? If I put a guy like, I don't know, Josh Allen, right? He's the same class as your boy, right? Baker Mayfield. If I play him with the Browns, they're going to be good.
Here's where I disagree, which is crazy. Here's why. Here's why. Remember, hold on, 25, and viewers at home, please remember this. The Browns were one